You stumble forward, feeling the weight of the journey in every bone. The roads seem endless, like an old playlist stuck on repeat, but instead of annoying tunes, it's prayers and whispered promises to keep you moving. You remind yourself of that verse, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Maybe it's the sandals wearing thin or the dryness of the throat, but suddenly those words feel like a cool drink on a scorching day. Remember that moment in Acts when Peter and John were thrown into prison just for preaching? Yeah, it wasn't a walk in the park. The religious leaders were seriously not fans of this new movement, but instead of backing down, the believers prayed. And guess what happened? The prison doors flung open like someone hit the auto-open button. Miracles, definitely. Divine intervention, without a doubt. But here's a fun little twist. Scholars argue about whether it was an angel or just some very forgetful guards. Either way, it gave the disciples a boost they sorely needed. You keep walking, feeling that mix of fear and excitement. You're part of a growing underground network, connected not by Wi-Fi but by faith and shared stories. People gather secretly, in homes, sharing meals and breaking bread like it's their last supper. Because in a way, it kind of is. The risk is real, and the community, it's growing, but it's messy. Not everyone agrees on everything. Imagine a group chat with no emojis and only heated debates about law and grace. Arguments break out over who should be included, how strict to be, what traditions to keep, and which to drop. There's even that famous Jerusalem Council where the big question is, do Gentile believers have to follow all the Jewish laws? You can almost picture it. Lots of nodding, shaking heads, some dramatic sighs. The resolution? Not exactly a mic drop moment, but it paves the way for a more inclusive faith. You think about how radical this is. People from all walks of life, different backgrounds, languages, and cultures, coming together with a shared belief. It's like the ultimate global community before globalization was a thing. And this community isn't just about faith, it's about care. Remember Dorcas. She sewed clothes for widows, and when she died, Peter raised her back to life. That story always hits you in the feels, like a reminder that kindness and compassion are the heartbeat of this movement. You also hear about Philip preaching in Samaria and baptizing an Ethiopian eunuch. Talk about breaking barriers. Eunuchs were often marginalized, and Samaritans, well, they had a complicated history with Jews, yet here they all are, drawn together by a story bigger than old grudges. It's messy, miraculous, challenging, and hopeful all at once. And you're right in the middle of it, trying to make sense of the chaos while holding on to that thread of peace. Historically, some argue how much of this is literal and how much is symbolic, but it doesn't really matter when you feel the truth. Deep inside, it's a story that keeps unfolding. You take a breath, adjust your pack, and keep walking. Because the journey isn't over, not by a long shot. The road stretches out again, uneven and rocky, but you're moving with purpose, like a courier carrying a message that could change everything. You can almost hear the whispers behind your back, some filled with hope, others with suspicion. It's funny how a simple story can be seen as salvation by some and a threat by others. You recall Paul's conversion on the road to Damascus, the moment that flipped his world upside down. Bright light, a voice from the sky, and suddenly the man who once hunted Christians becomes their fiercest advocate. It's the ultimate plot twist, the kind of redemption story Hollywood would struggle to write without looking cheesy. And here's a tidbit most people don't realize. Scholars still debate exactly where Damascus fits on Paul's timeline. Some say it happened early, others later. The mystery only adds to the intrigue. You think about Paul's letters, the ones you've heard read aloud in gatherings. They're like ancient emails, packed with advice, encouragement, and tough love. Run the race to win, he writes, or let love be genuine. You chuckle because if Paul had social media, his captions would definitely trend. But Paul's not just about pep talks. He faces prison, shipwrecks, beatings, you name it. His life reads like an action novel, minus the explosions but with double the faith. You sometimes wonder how he keeps going, what fuels that relentless spirit. Maybe it's that unwavering conviction that he's part of a bigger plan. Or maybe it's something deeper, the kind of hope that doesn't fade when the lights go out. You walk past olive trees, their gnarled branches reaching out like old hands telling stories of centuries. It feels sacred, timeless. You pause to touch the bark, grounding yourself. You remember the countless prayers whispered beneath these trees, prayers of peace, healing, and guidance. You find yourself in a small village, welcomed by faces unfamiliar yet kind. The local church is just a house, but the warmth inside is palpable. They share stories of miracles, healing the sick, feeding the hungry, forgiving enemies. It's hard to separate legend from fact, but the impact is undeniable. Here's a quirky fact. Some early Christians reportedly met in catacombs, underground burial places, where frescoes depicted biblical scenes. It's like having your own secret clubhouse with divine art. Pretty cool, right? You realize that this movement isn't just surviving, it's thriving in the shadows. But even as it grows, challenges persist. The tension between old traditions and new beliefs simmers beneath the surface. The struggle to remain true to the message without alienating anyone feels like walking a tightrope without a safety net. You wonder what it would be like to carry this tension in your own heart, to love fiercely but also question deeply. As night falls, the stars peek through the clear sky, their light ancient and steady. You lie back on the cool earth, feeling small yet connected to something infinite. The verses echo softly, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." And in that moment, you understand that this faith journey is less about the destination and more about the walk itself, one step, one prayer, one story at a time.